Say about that?
The mentality of the people. Maybe there are some places in the world, various places, where because of their background and culture, they're going through so much and there's so much pain that the instructors have that pain, and when they come to class, there are times when they actually say things that might be effective or that might affect the students. And maybe that's one of the reasons why the traditional Islamic universities, even though the same thing is taught in those universities, but when a person comes out, he might come out with a different thinking. A person in India might come out with a different thinking than a person who has actually studied in Saudi Arabia. And the reason would be because it's, it's the mentality of the teachers, it's the culture around there. And that's what we need to understand. It truly depends on the mentality of your teachers and of your instructors, which actually rub off into you. Many people feel that these are, they are not taught anything else except to go to war or except, what's in the books. Many of these universities have at the same time a lot of different courses. The students there are taught English, the students there are taught social studies, the students there are taught various other things that they could do at the same time. And when the media is reporting back to us, they are lacking to report the other side of what's happening, and they're only reporting the one side of what's happening in there.
Obviously, the countries in which Muslim students live and the schools therein that they attend help determine their views on life and in turn the way they practice and interpret the religion of Islam.
I was saddened to see a particular ethnic group being predominantly involved in this particular catastrophe. But at the same time, we need to contextualize this in the larger picture, that in every tradition, there are always extremist elements who try to misuse certain aspects of religion to articulate their own political and ideological goals. And in this respect, it is quite clearly a political statement, a political vision, that certain groups are trying to misuse, in the process trying to misuse religious doctrines.
I think as in past situations when something like this has happened, when it appears that a Muslim group is responsible for an act of violence like that, it's particularly painful because you feel that something close to you, something that you care about deeply, your religion, your faith, is being misused. And it's almost easier when it's somebody else, and I think for a lot of Muslims, during that time, you hope that someone else ends up being responsible because it takes away that added pain of feeling that something that's so important and valuable to you is being twisted and misused, and that people's understanding of something you care about so deeply and that stands for so much beauty and good and tolerance and justice is being misappropriated by people who would misuse it for their own agendas.
Many Muslims are saying that what happened on September 11th had nothing to do with Islam and that the religion of Islam itself was hijacked by the terrorists. What then is Islam and what is it all about?
If I were going to tell America one thing about our religion, about Islam, it'd be that we're peaceful people. Our greeting to one another is Assalamu alaikum, peace be unto you. And that's what we're about, peace. Our religion, Islam, means peace. And if the American media, if the American people want to know one thing about Islam, that's the one thing that'll tell them the truth about who we are.
I try to be everything in this life. I try to be a socialist. I try to be communist. I try to be atheist. I tried everything that exists on this face of earth. And I never felt as happy, neither as peaceful with myself as when I start to become a Muslim.
And in my experience, for example, in public office, people would try to get you to do things that they wanted you to do that were short-sighted or immoral or unethical. And I would always refuse. And I remember one time one of the other elected officials saying to me, "Can't you just go along with this just this one time?" And I said, it's wrong. I can't do that. I answer to a higher authority than you. And he was visibly taken aback by that. But it had an impact on him. And after that, he never asked me to do anything unethical again.
We asked Imam Tahir what he thought Muslims can do to help change these negative images of Islam and Muslims, and how they can help to alleviate this mistrust between Muslims and non-Muslims in America.
We, as living in this country, we just have to meet our neighbors, meet our colleagues, and let them know who we are. Look, we are Muslims, and this is our religion, this is what we do, and this is what we don't do. If we would have done this so long ago, if we would have done this, many years ago, and it was just as possible as it is now many years ago, all the negative image that we as Muslims might be getting nowadays, we wouldn't have got, because those people truly would have, the people around us truly would have known who we are. Just because they don't know yet who we are, that's what's creating the conflict.
We have to be proud Muslims, and I don't think that we should fear as Muslim women to step outside and to defend who we are as Muslim women, that we chose this Islam, we chose this religion, and we chose to wear what we wanted to wear. And I think we need to educate the public. And if we still gonna all the time resist stepping outside and talking about our identity and who we are not to expect our neighbor to know who we are. If we're not going to go and say to our neighbor, hi, I think if we walk on the street and stay shameful, like because I'm wearing Muslim clothes, or then basically, I don't know how people look at me. Or if somebody asked me a question and said to me, why are you wearing this scarf? And I'm not willing to give the 5 minutes to explain why I'm wearing this scarf. I'm not going to expect a change within the community. I think Islam is becoming a significant religion in this society. We're becoming the second religion after Christianity in the United States, and Islam is spreading really widely. And now wherever you go and wherever you walk, you're going to see Muslims. And now it's the Muslims' duty to educate the public about, Islam and who we are.
The biggest impact on me, though, was something that my halal butcher told me a few weeks ago. He said, as American Muslims, we have not done a good job at doing dawah or spreading information about this religion in America. And as a result, now Allah is sending people to us to ask us about Islam. Our task now is to rise to the occasion and be good dawiyas and give that information about Islam in a way that is easy for people to understand and is open.
What about Muslims in other countries where some say anti-American hate has grown? What can they do to help stop this cycle of hate from continuing?
For example, myself, even though I've been here for a very long time, since I was 5 years old, but when I do go back, I go back to tell them that, hey, look, we can practice our religion just as the way we want to. We can go to the mosque when we want to. We can dress how we like. So obviously these are things that they don't see on TV. All they see on TV is, things they don't like, things that are against their culture. They always see people who are talking against them or people who don't like them. So again, it's just a mistake. It's just something which they have in their minds which need to be erased. And how we're going to erase it? Well, we just need to start with showing the other side of everything. In the first place, we need to start with showing their good side to the people here. And the people there, they need to start seeing our good side, just as a lot of them get to see. I mean, we're not blaming anyone because we know both sides. Many others are not blaming anyone because they know that there is a bad and there is a good.
One of the primary litmus tests that the Prophet gave us, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he said very clearly that whatever is in harmony with the Quranic principles, no matter what source it may be, needs to be embraced. And whatever is contradictory to the Quranic principles of peace, equity, justice, tolerance, compassion, whatever is contrary to those Quranic norms and principles need to be discarded. So I think we, as a Muslim nations and Muslim population, need to cultivate this on different fronts, at the school, at the Islamic centers, at the level